Hi everybody, this is Waffennacht. I'm coming today to bring to you my newer build, my meta mainstream build, Magicka Warden. All the information about the build can be found in the video. You can pause, fast forward to find it, so I'm not really going to talk about what sets I'm using as much or why I have such skills. It is come to my attention that I don't really have any mainstream meta builds listed in my videos. Mostly all my fun take builds or my alternative thought process type builds. And I wanted to show that I am fully capable of running a build that everybody else is pretty much using. And this is my meta version of the Magicka Warden. It's a very high health proc build. I didn't go full on. I decided to use Winterborn. The more meta choice would be Crimonson Twilight. A lot of other players would use Crimonson Twilight for the healing and be restricted to that melee area. Another meta choice that I did not go with is Vampire. A lot of players, especially in the PC EU area, like using Vampire for Mist Form for its high damage mitigation and its ability to get you into Los. However, there is an issue with it bugging out and just not activating. So some players would rather use Race Against Time. I prefer using a slightly less cookie cutter version of my own builds. So I decided to go with Winterborn and then use Ulfnor's Favor in place of like 2 Trainee or Potentates, or using like willpower. So I went with Ulfnor because I feel like having 5 pieces, 3 Ulfnor, 1 Vateshran's staff, and 1 Trainee is better than a 5-piece, really. Again, I went with Winterborn because of the high amount of damage and the ability to proc it on Crushing Shock, which allows you to proc a large amount of damage at a distance rather than them having to be in melee range when Crimson goes off. I do kind of miss the healing, but with such high health and with Arctic Blast, the healing is really a non sequitur. I went with Eternal Guardian, while most players would rather use Northern Storm and some other ultimate, maybe even a Vampire ultimate. I went with him not so much for the damage, though the damage is noticeable, but more for the fact that pets in today's meta are very effective in blocking attacks. You can use it as a mobile Los unit, and it gets very annoying for your opponents, and that's why I decided to go with it. More for the annoyment factor, mainly because, again, I wanted to have a meta mainstream type build to show you guys, and there's nothing really more meta than having a pet get in someone's way. My other choices were with the Trainee, and then the Mist, and then the Winterborn with Ulfnor and Malacath, all infused jewelry that bump up the stats. It is a CP build, so I went through my CP really quickly here. You can take your time and see how it's divvied up. I didn't put a whole lot of work into the champion points, as most of my time is spent in the non-champion point battlegrounds. And so I just set this up really quickly because I've been noticing a lot of people wanting to duel me. So I decided to duel them. And this is what this video will come to in just a few moments, is the rather quick duels that I did while I was waiting for my battlegrounds to go through. While I was waiting in queue. It's in the Grotwood and Xbox North American server. For those of you who are on Xbox, you know that that is a fairly typical, common place to do duels. I was just hanging out mainly because of the Undaunted quests, and it's a good place just to kill your time with a non-necromancer. I went with Zaan, obviously, because that is one of the more powerful monster sets. I'm just going to show you the last sets buffed up here before the duels starts. Really high Magicka recovery, decent spell damage. You don't have to worry about sustain at all. And here begins the duels. So 6 duels in less than 3 minutes. So that make each duel about 30 seconds or less. Zaan with the Vateshran is extremely powerful up close like that. No, I didn't pay attention to whom I was dueling. I didn't pay attention to their champion points or the amounts. I was, as you can tell, I'm queued for the battleground, just killing time. But I notice a lot of people are interested in duels, are interested in champion points. So I figured, again, I'd just show you a mainstream type build, some with my little take on it, of course. And then, but to show you that I'm not in the know. You'll find a lot of these kinds of builds probably with higher health in the PC EU meta. More like my Abomination build that I had posted earlier in the year. A lot of these duels are so quick you hardly can tell that they even happened. Though again, this is the kind of thing I know a lot of people want to see, want to be able to do themselves, want to be able to emulate, and I wanted to give you guys that opportunity rather than showing nothing but my various more fun yet still competitive builds, non-meta builds. Wanted to show you something that is very competitive, something you'll very typically see, or something very similar to it in today's meta. A lot of people have been trying to farm Lightning Winterborn staff over the Fire staff, which isn't bad. However, for a build like this, you're really focusing on your Zaan and your beams, and that would be buffed by the Fire staff rather than the Lightning staff. Though the Lightning staff does buff like shocks and your Arctic, but the Arctic's not really a good damage ability. It's just a really good heal and stun ability. A lot of players would use Mist Form again in place of the Race Against Time. And I notice a lot of them don't use Bone Shield, but rather use like Leeching Vines. I did try out Leeching Vines, and I preferred the Bone Shield overall, plus the damage dealt back to them. Well, we're just about done. I hope you really enjoyed my video. I hope you guys like to see some mainstream stuff every once in a while. So here you go, some duels. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Hi, everybody.